Today on the channel, I can see the angry comments already as I'm going to tick off some people with this countdown, but today I'm counting down my top 5 worst G.I. Joe Classified Series figures of 2025.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, back again with another countdown. In today's video, it's something we don't do a whole lot. We do it every once in a while, but we're doing it here today to prove that even the best toy lines do have some clunkers along the way. In today's video, I'm counting down my top 5 worst G.I. Joe Classified Series figures of 2025. Now, I told you guys on the channel here, we did the countdown of all the different toy lines I do collect, and we counted down the top 10 worst figures of the year. We counted down the best figures of the year, but the best toy line of 2025 for me personally was the G.I. Joe Classified Series line, giving us so many things, so much nostalgia, but new technology, new advances, some little changes, but also a hallmark to the past and playing all the hits most of the time for me. I would say the overwhelming majority of the time for me. However, there was some figures this year that just didn't hit the mark for me, and as usual, this is my list. Put your list in the comments down below, and I know I'm going to get some hate comments on this video because I guarantee there's going to be some on this list that are your favorite Joes of 2025, but that's the beauty of these lists. My list, 100% right. Your list can be 100% right, but without further ado, let's kick it off. The worst G.I. Joe Classified figures of 2025, and we're going to start at number 5. We begin the countdown of the top 5 worst G.I. Joe figures, of course, at number 5. And this is going to get me some hate mail, Todd McFarlane, because I think this one might rile the most feathers on this countdown. We'll see. Now, this is a character I like. I remember as a little kid getting the one in the 80s at a Children's Palace store. The real ones remember Children's Palace once upon a time. I love this figure. I love this figure even more as a kid when I found out we shared the same name. Everybody loves a good Kyle. But here we are at number 5. We're going to Kyle. We're going to Budo, the deluxe figure, at number 5 worst G.I. Joe figure. And you're like, how could this be? This is an amazing figure. Sometimes less is more, if you ask me. Now, this is my personal opinion once again, but I feel like they did too much with this one. Kyle Budo did not need to, was it Jesse Kyle Budo? Something like that, but let's call him Budo. He did not need to be a deluxe figure. It was just too much for him. He's not an iconic enough character to get a deluxe figure. You know, he's not one of the prime Joes from the heart of the Joe years. An important piece of my playing days, no doubt about it. He teamed up with Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, Quick Kick, and a lot of others over there. Yes, Spirit too. Spirit was there every once in a while. So I loved Budo. However, the deluxe version, it was just too deluxe. Given new stuff to the character where I get it, they want to add some stuff, but I felt like it was too much and forced him into a deluxe price point that he definitely did not to be in. We did not need to get all this gear for him. And as I said, not an iconic enough character to warrant all this stuff. I know some of you guys hate that, but that's how I view it. And I think the majority of people, because I've traveled many a Walmarts, many a Targets, and I haven't even seen him at any Targets, but I've seen him at a lot of Walmarts, and he's not moving at the deluxe price point. So that is a shame because Budo was a favorite of mine once upon a time, but the classified line, dare I say, they did him dirty. In a weird way, it was still done dirty. It is what it is, and Budo comes in, number 5. Countdown rolls on, and we take a grim turn at number 4 as we go to a Viper. I love an army builder. I love a Viper, but do I love a grim Viper? Cool for what it is. I liked it best as the Range Viper, and they've got the most out of their molds. And we know all these toy companies, they got to get the most out of their molds. But sometimes, do you have to get them so soon? Is this the 3rd or 4th incarnation of the Grim Viper here, or Range Viper, whatever you want to call him at the time? I feel like this would be an okay figure, but put this out in 2028 for those that missed out before. It just feels too soon, and it feels a little bit forced, in all honesty, with this Grim Viper. Cool enough figure. I like what it represents. I like the looks of it. It's just when we're talking the best of the best, there's going to be some clunkers along the way. And this one felt very, very forced for me personally. And that's why the Grim Viper comes in number 4. We've hit the halfway point of the countdown here at number 3. Of course, get your list together. And yes, Todd, I agree. We'd all have Duke 5 through number 1 if they released some Duke figures this year. But they stuck out of the Duke nonsense, as we do know. We'll see what happens in 2026. But the number 3 one, very, very disappointing. It's great to get a first-timer in the line, any toy line, especially G.I. Joe. And you go to one of my favorite characters from back in the day. Unfortunately, the classified line did him extra dirty. Who are we talking about? We're talking about my boy Mainframe. I don't know when Mainframe became the little guy, the squirt of the team. I don't know what happened to him, but he is so undersized, it ruins the entire figure for me. I am hoping that we get a retro version of Mainframe and they can right the wrong of this one, as I have no idea what they were thinking, and we've had too many figures from the classified line be a little bit shorter. We also saw that with Leatherneck, and there's been a couple other examples throughout the year, but Mainframe was the worst example of this. Just way too small, just really missed the mark on here, which should have been a good character, a good figure for the line. Once again, hopefully the retro line fixes this one, because Mainframe's coming in at number 3. Getting closer to the end of the line like a young traveling Woolberries. Here we are at number 2. And number 2 is playing all those classic toy maker hits. We got to get the most out of our molds. We got to give a store exclusive. We've got to make it as easy as possible. Let's just do a little bit of repaint as we'll cover our goods with Target and we can move on to something else. That's what we saw here. Price point a little bit expensive, not moving on the shelf in my areas, a future clearance item, which at the same time, you drop something like this to clearance, it's a great army builder. So there's an option there. But we're going at number 2 to Target. We're going to the diver exclusives. Just random divers in ketchup and mustard color. I get it. You're going to build out the mass device. You're making Target happy, giving them an exclusive. You're getting the most out of your molds. But really, once again, feels pretty forced. Doesn't feel special. Now, we got Short Fuse and Steeler this year. That's an okay pack. Once again, not my favorite Joes. Not the most iconic. Not the best visual looking Joes. But a better pack than this one. As this is basically, it's just repaint some divers, re-release them as army builders. Is what it is. And as I said, I'm not opposed. This goes down to 25 bucks, 23 bucks or whatever. I'll pick up another pack just to build out a shelf, but there's not any nostalgia to this. There's nothing real special. I want name characters, and yeah, it's great to have army builders, but these just feel really forced and really honestly feel like they're checking the box over there at Hasbro. So the divers coming in number 2, which means there can only be one. What is the number 1 worst G.I. Joe figure of 2025? Well, stay tuned. All right, we've hit the top spot. The number 1 worst G.I. Joe Classified Series figure of 2025. One of the hardest lists to do, as this was easily the best toy line of 2025 for me personally. So it's hard to rank 5 bad figures, but we did it. We've done 4 through 2, or 5 through 2. I can't count. You guys know how that goes. But here we are at number 1. Once again, get your list together. Going to be very hard to do, but get it together. But here we are at number 1, and the number 1 figure is a figure we've had before. That takes a little luster off it, as we've had this a few different times already in the classified series. So to get it this year in the retro line was kind of like one of those, and it is getting the most out of your molds. Every toy line does it, but it makes them feel a little bit less than. But the classified team, retro team in this instance, made it a lot less than for me personally, and that's why it's number 1 on my list. Who is it? Well, we're going to the TeleViper here. Now, we've had the TeleViper before, as we do know, but this is the first time in the retro series, and this is more of maybe what people think of compared to the other versions we've received in the classified series. However, this one, obviously get the most out of your molds, just a very easy repaint of those, but too easy of a repaint where a lot of corners were cut on this one, making it extremely disappointing. The biggest thing that I hate about this figure is we got 3 heads. Now, usually we don't get extra heads for G.I. Joe. Every once in a while we do, but it's pretty rare. This one, we got 3 heads. That's pretty awesome. We're here for that. Great for army builders, things like that. And they did give us different little data across there, little sayings, alert, and so forth on there. I thought that was cool in itself. Of course, we remember that from the cartoon, Once Upon a Time. However, what I absolutely hate here and is so cheap with this one is they use the exact same head, same face 3 times. You couldn't give us different expressions. We couldn't get a little bit extra with that. That was very disappointing. Have one with his mouth closed, have one with a smile, have one with a frown. It doesn't have to be over dramatic face sculpts, but something different. Instead, it was just basically a repaint with a different word or no word on there, which really made this one feel cheaper. And it felt even cheaper because I could understand that if this is the first time we've got the majority of this, but we've received it already 2 other times. So really felt like they were cutting corners on this one. An iconic character for what it is, but man, some corners were cut on this one. And as far as the classified line, retro line goes in 2025, this was easily the most disappointing for me. Just very, very unfortunate. But it is what it is. It's the way the cookie crumbles. Somebody's always got to be the best. Somebody's always got to be the worst. And here we are with the Televiper as the worst figure of 2025, G.I. Joe style at least. So there's my list. Put your list in the comments down below. I'm interested to see if you can make this list. Like I said, these lists are always controversial, but at the end of the day, it's my list, just like it's your list. I guarantee a lot of you won't have Budo on your list, but my list, he's on there. Deal with it. How about that? So there it is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content for you on Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. Sir Paul64 over there on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com, which is also the name of my podcast, The Kyle Peterson Show, available where podcasts are found, and of course, video on YouTube. So for the top 5 worst Joes of 2025, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?